I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one who starts daydreaming when mathematics comes around. Such is the case for my 5th period class. Once Mrs. Ramirez opens her mouth, my mind just goes flying out the window and onto another place. Sometimes it flies onto another world. Trying my best not to fall asleep due to boring fractions, I suddenly feel something hit me at the back of my head. It wasn't something hard or worthy of a bruise, but it was definitely to get my attention. I slowly turn my head and I see a brown-haired kid with dancing eyebrows. I roll my eyes and slowly shake my head. It was Addie. She was one of my best friends. As I was turning my head to face Mrs. Ramirez, I felt another thing hit me in the head. This time it had more weight to it. I looked at Mrs. Ramirez and made sure she had her back turned before whipping my head to face Addie. She points to the ground and mouths the words either important or impotent. I roll my eyes and scan the ground close to my desk. I see a folded piece of paper. Picking it up and quickly opening it, I scan the letter and pocket it immediately. After a few minutes of algebraic torture, the school bell starts ringing. I stuff my mostly empty notebook in my backpack and turn around to greet Addie. She grins at me while moving a finger up to her lips. I shoot her a puzzled look and point to the door of the room. We both hastily make our way out of the room, and she starts asking me what I think about the note.
So, Nick, what do you think?
You do know that your handwriting sucks, right?
I tell her in a sarcastic tone. She rolls her eyes at me and says,
Well, it's a secret, so we can only talk about it at the cafeteria.
There will be more people there, you know.
I reply to her, furrowing my brow.
Yeah, but it's really noisy there, so we're covered.
I sigh and make her lead the way. After grabbing our overpriced and unhealthy meal, we sit at the far corner of the cafeteria. Addie starts looking around, making sure no one was eavesdropping on us. She then starts spilling the beans. She proceeds to tell me about how she overheard her cop dad talk about this abandoned tunnel near the edge of town. You see, I and her went to this urban exploration phase. We never really got into urban exploring ourselves, but we used to watch a lot of video clips. Specifically urban explorers going into abandoned places like prisons, schools, asylums, and sometimes even cities. The reason why we never did exploring ourselves was because, well, I would always chicken out. Every time we would plan it, my mind would travel to a million places. I find myself always worrying to death about the possible humans we'll encounter. One time, Addie told me about this abandoned carnival a few towns away that we can check out. As we were at my house preparing to go there, a news report flashes onto the television. Apparently that abandoned carnival was a famous meetup spot for some shady people. Cops busted people dealing drugs, doing drugs, and even corpses of people who overdid drugs. So you can understand my reluctance in going with her to an abandoned tunnel leading to God knows where. One thing I hate most about Addie is she wears me down eventually. Today I guess my defenses are down since she got me to go with her. Not to explore the tunnel, but to just scope it out. According to her, the area is well lit and has a good amount of construction workers mulling about it. She assures me that there are probably no dangers hiding behind the tunnel, since the construction crew probably cleared it out before it. After school, we leave all of our stuff inside our lockers in case the construction crew ran us off. We can make a quick getaway. We keep our smartphones with us, and just my luck, I was almost out of battery. My mind starts racing with nervous thoughts, almost making me puke. Addie ushers me to push forward. I nod weakly, but I can feel a pit in my stomach. I try to shake it off as we start heading towards the edge of town, with every footstep leading us further and further from our school and our homes. Within an hour, I can finally see signboards greeting passing cars for visiting our town. Most of them look old and worn down. I guess the town council or whoever makes the decisions are too busy closing down tunnels instead of replacing the signboards. I laugh quietly to myself as I slowly keep pace with a speed-walking Addie. We finally hit edge of town, and as I check my phone clock, it read 5:45 p.m. and my phone battery read 24%. Just my luck. My phone is about to go into battery saver mode just as we were on the outskirts of town. Not to mention that my phone signal is weakening. I was about to tell Addie that we should go back when she suddenly puts her hand up. I was about to ask her why, but she places a finger on her lips, then points to the right side of the road. As it was significantly getting darker, I can see a bright light by the distance. From the looks of it, maybe it was floodlights for the workers. Addie pulls me to the side and tells me that we should get closer and eavesdrop on them. I start telling her how it was a bad idea, but she was already walking towards the direction of the light. I follow suit, trying my best to stop my knees from shaking. As we reached the edge of the clearing, it was now obvious that the lights were floodlights after all. There was a lot of construction gear, or I think it was construction gear. Addie leads the way onto a thick bush just beside the clearing. We place ourselves behind it and silently observe the area. From the passing casual conversations we hear, it turns out that the tunnel led to an abandoned hospital facility or something like that. A group of wealthy land buyers want to seal off the tunnel and create a new exit somewhere that's not facing the main road. What really caught our interest was that the demolishing was moved to later that night, 10 p.m. to be exact. After a few more minutes of eavesdropping, a large chunk of the construction crew left. They said they were heading towards town or whatever. I was about to stand when Addie stops me.
Nick, they're moving the demolishing tonight. Now's our only chance.
Addie, you're crazy. What if we get sealed off in that thing? I'm not risking it.
Come on, just snap a few pictures. The online forums are gonna go crazy.
I rub my eyes in annoyance, but deep down I know she's right. It would be pretty cool to check it out. Keep my mouth shut and check my phone. It was already 6:55 p.m. and I was able to bump my battery charge to 30%, so it's good. Addie grabs my arm, guiding me as we snake past machinery and raw materials scattered about the site. As we reach the mouth of the tunnel, a lingering chill creeps up my spine. I shrug it off as the cold air traveling through the tunnel, and we press on. Greeting us was a lot of darkness and graffiti. Some water damage from rusty vents and stuff. A lot of gross, moldy stuff too. A bunch of people seem to have hung out there a lot, since I almost tripped on tossed away beer bottles. Addie was having a field day though. I swear her phone memory would fill up. I also took some pictures myself, but I couldn't shake the chill. I start to tell Addie about the uneasy feeling, but she shrugs me off every time. As I chase after, I see a small light peeking at the corner of my eye. I whip my head to that direction and I can see a soft light emanating from a partially open door. I inch towards the door, trying my best to hear if there were sounds coming from it.
I peeked through the door and felt my stomach turn. There's a single bulb hanging from loose wiring on the roof of the room, dimly illuminating it. A heavy odor of decay and rot greets my nose, making me cover it instinctively. I can see buckets of what seemed to be residue or something. At the center was a man, or what looks like a man, hunched over something or someone. His body was oddly pale, almost pasty white. He wore tattered clothing and had strands of long, greasy hair. He cackled and wheezed as if amused by something. I looked closer and see that he was hunched over a body, a corpse. It wasn't recognizable at first, but now I can see it. He was playing with it. I could see his slender, bony arms caressing the limbs of his poor victim. Whoever he killed, well, he was peeling their skin off. I turned away to stop myself from puking. Taking a few deep breaths, I turned to face the door again. As I do, his face greets me by the partially open door. His eyes were hollow-looking as the entire eyeball was nothing but darkness. His nose was crooked while his teeth were uneven and yellowing. He opens his mouth to speak. As he does, I can still see a sinew of human flesh at the corner of his mouth. My feet were like concrete.
I don't like sharing my meals, so I think it's best you leave.
I just stood there, frozen in fear. He slowly moves next to me and raises a gangly arm. His hand was thin with elongated fingers. The fingernails were long and sharp. I could see his fingernails slowly play with my hair before snatching a strand. He then closes the door partially, like the way it was earlier.
What broke me out of my trance was Addie. She was shaking me. Rubbing my eyes, I asked her what was going on. She told me that she was calling out to me multiple times and I wouldn't respond. Then she saw me standing in front of an empty room for about 20 minutes. I couldn't begin to explain. I don't think she'll even believe it. Shakily, I placed my hand onto the door in front of me. Gently pushing it open, I expected the worst. What greeted me instead was an empty room. No more rot, only the stale scent of musty air. I was escorted out by Addie. I don't really remember what happened after. I don't really remember anything anymore. Only that specific story. It's been 10 years and I've spent the better part of it in the hospital. The doctors are worried about me, but at the same time I can hear them saying that I'm a lost cause. I don't know why my skin has turned so pale or why my hair is falling out. My vision is slowly leaving me as well. I don't know why all of this is happening either. All I know is, one of these days the creature will visit me.